Hey everybody, it's LeBron Friend. I've got a vlog and a blog I want to share with you real quick called Committed to the Covenant. Um, Everyone, or just about everybody that gets married, has these key words in their marriage ceremony. It says this: till death do us part. But so often in this society now, that word or that term is not endeared, or it's not as taken as seriously. And pretty much people use convenience, to be honest with you. Marriages are terminated out of convenience or out of a lack of commitment. And there's got to be a place where we become recommitted to our commitment to one another, and primarily committed to God. Whenever God cuts a covenant, he's serious about the covenant he cuts. From the covenant he cut with Noah when he promised that the world would never be flooded again with rain, to the covenant of grace that he's cut with us, where through the work of Jesus Christ, we all are saved by grace and we're redeemed by his blood. God takes covenant seriously, and so should we. That doesn't mean that every marriage doesn't go through stuff, and have issues. Fanika and I, we are very open and very transparent about the fact that there have been a couple times, out of mostly my foolishness, that Fanika's almost ready to walk away from it all. But we have to be committed and recommitted to our covenant in marriage. So in order for us to do that, we have to do a self-check. And I want to just give you 5 quick things that you should be checking in your marriage with your mate to be sure that you're staying on course and growing together. Number 1 is, how have I progressed in my commitment over the last year? If you cannot measure how your relationship has developed in a year's time, there's a good chance that you're either stagnant or you're regressing in your commitment. And both of those are dangerous because they open up the door for negative influences and negative opportunities to enter our lives and enter our relationships that can affect our marriage one way or the other. So we have to ask ourselves, how are we progressing in our commitment? Number 2, where does my marriage covenant rank in my life? It's easy for us to say that our marriage is number 1, that next to God, our marriage is right there. But my wife said something to me in the midst of one of our disagreements. She said this: love is what love does. And so you have to ask yourself the question, is my marriage the main thing that I'm doing? Or is there something else that takes precedent over that? And if something else is taking precedent over that, how can I remedy that? Number 3, how well do I communicate love to my spouse? Everyone has a different love language, and we have to become fluent in the language that our spouse speaks. We have to understand how they feel love, how they receive love, what means love to them, and be willing to communicate in the way that best connects with how they interpret love. Number 4, what is the root of our disagreements? Man, I wish I could spend a whole lot of time here, but every argument at its root carries something deeper. The argument is the fruit, but at the root there's something deeper. You may be arguing about sex, but sex is not the root. Sex is the fruit. What is the root that's causing that argument to transpire? We have to dig things up from the root in order to keep the fruit from manifesting in our relationship. And finally, number 5, when was the last time you said, I apologize? At the end of the day, right, wrong, or indifferent, you've got to be willing to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry does not necessarily mean that you're guilty, but it means that you're big enough to understand the perspective of someone else and how your actions may have negatively affected them one way or the other. So at the end of the day, we have to be committed to our covenant. We have to be committed to our commitment. And above everything else, be willing to say, we're going to make it through this because we're committed to one another and to God. God bless you. Have a great day.